The starship Concordia hung in high orbit above Proxima Centauri, its sleek hull reflecting the ruddy light of the nearby star. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes fixed on the azure world below. After 2 centuries of looking to the stars, humanity had finally found another civilization ready to talk. "Final systems check complete, Captain," reported Commander James Martinez, his weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. "The diplomatic shuttle is prepped and Ambassador Wong is ready to begin descent." Sarah nodded, trying to quell the unease in her stomach. The Centaurians had seemed eager for contact in their initial transmissions, yet something about their rapid acceptance of a diplomatic mission felt off. 20 years of deep space service had taught her to trust her instincts. "Run another scan of their orbital defense grid," she ordered. "I want to know if anything's changed since our arrival." Lieutenant Kira Patel's fingers danced across her sensor station. Defense platforms appeared dormant, same as before. Though, she paused, frowning. "There's some unusual energy fluctuations in the upper atmosphere. Could be natural phenomena, but the pattern seems." A sudden alarm cut through the bridge's quiet efficiency. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL," Kira shouted. "Signatures match Centaurian warships, but they're not broadcasting IFF." "Shields up," Sarah snapped, already moving to her command chair. "Get that shuttle back in our bay now." But it was too late. The first salvo from the Centaurian vessels struck the diplomatic shuttle, vaporizing it in a silent flash of light. Ambassador Wong and her entire team, gone in an instant. "They're targeting our engines," Martins reported, his voice tight with controlled fury. "These aren't rogue elements, Captain. This is a coordinated military strike." Sarah's mind raced through options as her ship shuddered under enemy fire. The Concordia was a diplomatic vessel, well shielded but lightly armed. They couldn't win this fight. "All hands, prepare for emergency jump," she ordered. "Navigation, plot us a course through their formation. We need to get word back to Earth." The Concordia's engines flared to life, pushing the ship into a desperate maneuver. Centaurian weapons fire filled space around them, some impacts getting through their failing shields to score the hull. Engineering reports jump drive at 70%. Martinez called out. "We'll only get one shot at this." Sarah gripped her chair's arms as another hit rocked the bridge. "That's all we need. Helm, on my mark." A massive explosion bloomed off their port side as one of the Centaurian ships finally scored a critical hit. Warning klaxons blared as systems began to fail. "Hull breach, decks 4 through 7. Kira's voice was almost lost in the chaos. "We're losing power to the jump drive." Sarah's expression hardened. "Reroute everything we've got left. Life support, weapons, everything. We make this jump or none of this matters." As her crew worked frantically to comply, she opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is the captain. What we've witnessed today must not go unanswered. Some of us won't make it home, but Earth needs to know what happened here. It has been my honor to serve with you all." The Concordia's jump drive spooled up one final time, drawing on every scrap of power the dying ship could provide. Space twisted around them as they prepared to tear a hole in reality itself. "Jump drive at maximum," Martinez shouted. "Now or never, Captain." Sarah's voice was steel. "Take us home." The Concordia vanished in a flash of light, leaving behind a debris field of shattered hopes and broken trust. But the ship had achieved its final mission. Earth would know of the Centaurians' betrayal, and humanity would remember. In the darkness between stars, a signal began its journey. Carried by quantum entanglement communications, it spread to hidden receivers throughout human space. The message was simple, but its impact would reshape the future. First contact protocol has failed. The Centaurians have revealed their true intentions. Earth must prepare. As the signal raced toward home, the pieces of a greater conflict were already falling into place. Humanity had hoped for peace among the stars. Instead, They had found their trial by fire. The real question was, would they emerge from it stronger, or watch their dreams of a peaceful future burn to ash? The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched upward into darkness, its curved walls lined with hovering platforms occupied by representatives from 100 worlds. At its center, Fleet Admiral Helena Rodriguez stood before the assembled delegates, her dress uniform pristine despite the weight of the past week's events. "The evidence is irrefutable," she declared, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. Holographic displays materialized around her, showing the final moments of the Concordia's diplomatic mission. The Centaurian Federation launched an unprovoked attack on a peaceful vessel. 23 of Earth's finest citizens were murdered, including Ambassador Wong and her entire diplomatic team. Murmurs rippled through the chamber as the footage played. On her platform, High Counselor Vexera of the Arcturus Collective raised a crystalline appendage. The translator rendered their harmonics into clear speech. "While these events are tragic, we must consider the broader context. The Centaurians claim your vessel was armed, carrying weapons prohibited by council law." Helena's jaw tightened. The Concordia was a diplomatic vessel with standard defensive capabilities, all of which were declared and approved by this very council. "We followed every protocol." "Perhaps," rumbled Krathzen, the massive representative of the silicon mines. Their quantum matrix pulsed with skepticism. "Yet our analysis suggests your shield configurations exceeded peaceful parameters." One might interpret this as preparation for conflict. "We came in peace," Helena countered, "but we're not fools. The galaxy is vast and often dangerous. Basic defensive measures are not acts of aggression." From her private observation booth above the chamber, Director Maya Santos of Earth Intelligence watched the proceedings with growing concern. Her neural implant pinged softly, indicating an incoming secure transmission from her team. "Director," the encrypted message read, "we've detected unusual quantum signatures during the council session. Multiple delegates are receiving real-time communications from an unknown source. Pattern matches previous interventions by the Shadow Consortium." Maya's eyes narrowed. The Shadow Consortium, a theoretical alliance of ancient species manipulating galactic politics from behind the scenes. Until now, she considered them little more than a conspiracy theory. But the evidence was becoming harder to ignore. Back on the chamber floor, the council's first speaker, an ethereal being of pure energy named Luminara, raised their voice. "This council has reached a decision. Until a full investigation can be conducted, Earth and all human colonies will be placed under quarantine. No vessels may enter or leave human space without explicit council approval." "This is outrageous," Helena protested. "You would isolate us while the Centaurians go unpunished." "The quarantine is not negotiable," Luminara stated. "Furthermore, all human military vessels must stand down and submit to council inspection." Maya's implant pinged again. This time, the message made her blood run cold. "Director, we've decrypted fragments of the hidden communications. The Centaurian attack wasn't random. It was orchestrated by elements within the council itself." In that moment, Maya made a decision that would alter the course of human history. She opened a secure channel to Admiral Rodriguez, transmitting a simple code phrase they had established years ago. "The shadow grows longer." Helena received the message without betraying any reaction, but her next words carried a subtle shift in tone. "This council claims to stand for justice and cooperation," she said, her voice carrying a new edge. "Yet today you reveal yourselves as nothing more than puppets and cowards." Gasps and angry outbursts filled the chamber. Luminara's energy form flickered with displeasure. "Admiral Rodriguez, you forget your place." "No," Helena replied. "I see it clearly for the first time." She straightened, her bearing somehow even more formal. "Humanity withdraws from these proceedings. We will not submit to your quarantine, and we will not stand idle while corrupt powers manipulate galactic politics for their own ends." "This is most unwise," Vexera warned. "The consequences," The consequences are yours to bear. Helena cut them off. She touched a small device on her wrist, and her image began to fade. Humanity trusted in this council's principles. Remember that when everything you've built comes crashing down. As Helena's hologram disappeared, chaos erupted in the chamber. Maya was already moving, her neural implant connecting her to Earth's hidden network of operatives throughout Council space. The Shadow Consortium had made a critical mistake. They had assumed humanity would accept their fate quietly. They were about to learn otherwise. In orbit above the Council world, the Earth diplomatic ship Defiant received its final passengers via secure transport. Helena materialized on the bridge, her holographic performance replaced by grim reality. "Take us out full burn," she ordered, "and send word to all Earth forces. Operation Daybreak is now active." As the Defiant vanished into FTL, Maya's operatives were already moving into position throughout Council space. The Shadow War was about to become very, very real. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, ancient powers stirred, realizing too late that they had gravely underestimated humanity's resolve. The game they had played for millennia was about to change forever. The stealth vessel Shadow Step drifted through the debris field surrounding the ancient space station, its adaptive hull absorbing and redirecting sensor suites. In the ship's cramped command center, Commander Kai Tanaka studied the holographic display of their target, Station Omega, officially abandoned centuries ago, but now showing distinct signs of activity. Thermal signatures confirm movement in the lower sectors, reported Lieutenant Ana Vasquez, her cybernetic eyes processing multiple data streams simultaneously. Security appears automated, but there are organic life signs deeper inside. Kai nodded, his expression thoughtful. After Earth's withdrawal from the Council, Director Santos had tasked their team with investigating suspected Shadow Consortium facilities. This derelict station, hidden in the radioactive remains of a shattered solar system, had pinged their quantum detection grid 2 days ago. "Team status?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. They'd drilled this mission 100 times. "Ready for insertion," confirmed Major David Chen, leader of their combat unit. The former Special Forces operator checked his phase rifle one final time. Quantum shielding is charged and holding. The third member of their infiltration team, Dr. Lyra Nash, looked up from her array of exotic scanning equipment. "The station's using tech that predates known civilization," she said, excitement bleeding through her professional demeanor. "If we can access their databases." "The mission comes first," Kai reminded her. "We need proof of their involvement in the Centaurian attack. Everything else is secondary." They all knew the stakes. Earth's forces were holding their own against Council attempts to enforce the quarantine. But they needed leverage, concrete evidence of the conspiracy that would force the neutral powers to take notice. Initiating silent approach, Anna announced. The Shadow Step's engines powered down to barely a whisper as they glided toward a maintenance airlock. Detection risk at 12% and holding. Kai stood, checking his own equipment. "Remember, we're ghosts. No engagement unless absolutely necessary. The moment they know we're here, they'll wipe everything," David finished. "We know, Commander. We've got this." The airlock cycling was nearly soundless, a testament to human engineering. As the team moved into the station's dark corridors, their quantum shielding rendered them almost invisible to the facility's ancient sensors. "First junction ahead," Anna's voice whispered through their secure comms. Back on the ship, she was their eyes and ears, guiding them through the maze of corridors. Security drones on patrol, but their routing is predictable. "Mark. Move now." They slipped past the floating spheres of metal and energy, their footsteps dampened by advanced tech. The station's architecture was bizarre. Angles that seemed to bend in impossible ways, surfaces that rippled like liquid metal. "Getting strong power readings 2 levels down," Lyra reported, her scanners probing the structure. "And something else, some kind of quantum archive." "That's our target," Kai decided. "Anna, find us a path." They descended through maintenance shafts and emergency tubes, avoiding the main thoroughfares. The deeper they went, the more signs of recent activity they found. Fresh power conduits, modern computer terminals grafted onto ancient systems. Finally, they reached a vast chamber filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with inner light. Lyra immediately moved to a terminal, her fingers flying over the alien interface as she connected their decryption systems. "This is incredible," she breathed. "The amount of data stored here. Wait." Her voice sharpened. "I'm finding references to Earth, dating back thousands of years before we achieved spaceflight." "They've been watching us," David muttered. "All this time." "More than watching," Lyra continued, her face illuminated by the flowing data. "They've been manipulating us. The Centaurians too. All of it. First contact, the attack, even our withdrawal from the Council. It's all part of some grand experiment." Kai felt his blood run cold. "Can you prove it?" "Hard evidence we can take back. Already copying the relevant files. But there's something else." Lyra's voice held a note of awe. "According to this, we're not the first civilization they've tested this way. But we are the first to." Alarms suddenly blared through the station, cutting her off. "Multiple quantum signatures detecting." Anna's urgent voice came through their comms. "Massive power spike. They know we're here." "How long do you need?" Kai demanded, as David took up a defensive position by the door. 30 seconds to complete the copy," Lyra replied, her fingers never stopping their dance across the interface. "Hostile forces converging on your position," Anna reported. "And something else. Something big is waking up inside the station." The chamber's crystalline structures began to pulse faster, their light taking on a reddish hue. The air itself seemed to thicken with potential energy. "Got it," Lyra announced, disconnecting her systems. "Full data copy secured." "Everyone out now," Kai ordered. "Anna, prep the ship for emergency extraction." They ran through the corridors, all pretense of stealth abandoned. Behind them, something ancient and terrible was stirring to life, its anger at their intrusion radiating through the station's very walls. Security drones swarmed them, no longer following predictable patterns. David's phase rifle carved them apart, while Lyra used portable EMP bursts to clear their path. Kai brought up the rear, making sure nothing flanked them. They reached the airlock just as the station's internal geometry began to shift, corridors twisting like living things. The shadow step was already there, Anna's perfect piloting bringing their escape route within arm's reach. As they burst into the ship's command center, Kai barked out orders. "Break station contact. Full power to engines. Get us clear before." A beam of pure energy lanced out from the station, barely missing their hull. Anna's hands flew across the controls, pushing their stealth ship to its limits as they fled into the debris field. "Multiple vessels emerging from quantum space," she reported. "Council signatures. And others I can't identify." "Doesn't matter," Kai said grimly. "We got what we came for. Execute emergency jump sequence. Let's show the galaxy what we found." The shadow step vanished in a flash of quantum fire, leaving chaos in its wake. Inside the ancient station, alarms continued to blare as ancient beings realized their greatest fear had come true. Humanity had discovered their secret. And now, nothing could stop the truth from spreading across the stars. Emergency alarms echoed through the halls of Earth's Strategic Command as analysts rushed to process the data from Operation Silent Truth. In the central briefing chamber, Director Maya Santos stood before a gathering of humanity's highest-ranking military and civilian leaders, her neural implants projecting the decoded information into the room's holographic display system. "What you're seeing isn't just evidence of conspiracy," she announced, her voice tight with controlled urgency. "It's proof of something far worse. The Shadow Consortium isn't just an alliance of ancient species. They're survivors of a war that nearly destroyed this galaxy eons ago." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the shifting display of quantum data. "Survivors? Of what?" "They call it the void consciousness," Maya replied, bringing up new images, strange, geometric patterns that seem to hurt the eyes. An entity from beyond our universe that feeds on civilizations. The consortium's manipulation of younger species isn't just about power. It's about preparing for its return. The room erupted in concerned murmurs. Commander Tanaka, fresh from the Station Omega mission, stepped forward to add his report. The data we recovered suggests this entity enters our reality through quantum breaches. The consortium's been using us, all of us, as test subjects, trying to find species capable of fighting it. And the Centaurian attack? Someone asked. A deliberate provocation, Maya confirmed. They wanted to see how we'd respond to betrayal, whether we'd break or grow stronger. Every crisis, every conflict they've engineered, has been part of their assessment. On the main screen, a priority alert suddenly flashed. Admiral Rodriguez's aide rushed forward with a quantum tablet. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of our system, she reported. Centaurian signatures, but they're broadcasting on emergency channels. They're requesting immediate contact. Maya and Helena exchanged glances. Put them through, the Admiral ordered. The holographic display shifted, revealing the face of First Commander Vena Rix of the Centaurian Defense Force. Her scaled features showed signs of strain. Earth Command, she began. We come seeking alliance. Our long-range arrays have detected something. Something massive approaching Council space. New data streamed across the displays. Sensor readings that made the assembled humans' blood run cold. At the edge of known space, reality itself was beginning to tear. It's happening, Maya breathed. The void consciousness. It's coming earlier than even the consortium predicted. We've received similar readings, Vena confirmed. Our scientists have analyzed your data leak from Station Omega. We know now that we were all pawns in their game. But perhaps, she paused, mandibles clicking in what humans had learned was a sign of determination. Perhaps that game has prepared us for this moment. Admiral Rodriguez straightened, her decision already made. Open a secure channel to all Earth forces, she commanded, and get me a direct line to every Council species willing to listen. Commander Rix, plot your ships a safe approach vector. We have a lot to discuss and very little time. Within hours, the Sol system became a hub of frantic activity. Ships from a dozen species, former enemies and reluctant allies alike, gathered in Earth orbit as the scope of the threat became clear. The Shadow Consortium's manipulations had bred distrust and conflict, but they had also forced each species to grow stronger, more resilient. In the Strategic Command Center, Maya worked with a mixed team of human and alien analysts, piecing together the consortium's accumulated knowledge of their ancient enemy. The void consciousness doesn't just destroy civilizations, she explained to the gathered representatives. It consumes their quantum potential, all possible futures they might have had. Then we must strike first, Vena declared, her tactical mind already processing possibilities. A unified fleet, using the consortium's own quantum technologies against this threat. Not just their tech, Commander Tanaka added, bringing up the Station Omega data. Look at these defensive formations, these weapon configurations. Every conflict they staged between us. They were teaching us how to fight this thing. We just didn't know it. A junior analyst burst into the room, their face pale. Multiple quantum breaches detected. The entity, it's accelerating its approach. We have less than 48 hours before first contact. Admiral Rodriguez's voice cut through the rising tension. Then we have 48 hours to prepare the largest joint operation in galactic history. She turned to address the assembled aliens and humans alike. We've spent years fighting each other. Now we find out we were being trained for something bigger. The question is, did they train us well enough? The room filled with determined nods from a dozen different species. Ancient rivalries and recent wounds were set aside in the face of extinction. The Shadow Consortium had gambled everything on this moment, on the hope that their centuries of manipulation would forge the galaxy's younger races into something strong enough to face the void. As the combined fleet began to assemble, drawing ships from every corner of known space, humanity found itself in an unexpected position, at the center of the greatest alliance the galaxy had ever seen. They had refused to break under the consortium's tests, had uncovered the truth through their own initiative, and now stood ready to lead the fight for existence itself. The final battle was approaching, and in the quantum streams of data still flowing from Station Omega, one crucial piece of information waited to be discovered. The void consciousness had visited this galaxy before, and something about humanity's quantum signature was terrifyingly familiar to it. The true nature of the human species and their unexpected role in this ancient conflict was about to be revealed. The combined fleet of the galaxy's younger races hung in formation at the edge of known space, a vast armada of ships representing every civilization that had chosen to stand against the darkness. On the bridge of the Earth dreadnought Humanity's Dawn, Admiral Helena Rodriguez watched as the quantum breach grew larger, reality itself tearing apart as their ancient enemy approached. "Final fleet status," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "All ships report ready," Commander Tanaka replied from his tactical station. "Centaurian battle groups have taken position on our flanks. Council forces are maintaining the defensive line. The consortium's quantum weapons have been distributed and synchronized." Director Maya Santos stepped forward, her neural implants processing the last fragments of data from Station Omega. "Admiral, there's something you need to see. We finally decoded the oldest records, the ones about the void consciousness's last incursion." Before she could continue, space itself seemed to shudder. Through the quantum breach emerged something that defied description, a vast, geometric impossibility that radiated wrongness. Ship sensors screamed warnings as reality warped around it. "All ships, hold formation," Helena ordered across the fleet-wide channel. "Wait for my mark." "Admiral." Maya's voice was urgent now. "The records, they show why the entity is drawn to human space. We're not just random test subjects. We're descendants of the race that drove it back last time." The revelation hit the bridge crew like a physical force. "How is that possible?" Tanaka demanded. "Human civilization is barely a few thousand years old." "Our civilization is," Maya corrected. "But our species, the consortium found evidence of advanced human settlements dating back millions of years. We're not rising for the first time. We're remembering." The void consciousness struck without warning. Beams of impossible energy lanced out, erasing ships from existence. The fleet responded instantly, thousands of vessels moving in perfect coordination, their crews operating on training they hadn't known they possessed. "All ships, execute pattern Sigma," Helena commanded. The human-led sections of the fleet moved with inherited grace, their maneuvers echoing battles fought eons ago. "Maya, if what you're saying is true, how do we stop this thing?" "The records suggest synchronicity." Maya's hands flew over the data displays. "Our ancestors didn't just fight it. They created a quantum resonance that forced it back into its own dimension. But it required multiple species working in perfect harmony." Understanding dawned in Helena's eyes. The consortium wasn't just training us to fight, she realized. They were teaching us to work together. Every conflict, every alliance, every betrayal, it was all preparation for this moment. The battle raged across dimensions, ships moving in complex patterns that grew more coordinated with each passing moment. The void consciousness lashed out with reality-warping attacks, but found its prey unexpectedly resilient. "Energy spike," Tanaka shouted. "It's preparing something massive." "Now," Helena's voice carried across all frequencies. "All ships, initiate quantum resonance sequence. Just like we practiced. Trust in each other." Thousands of ships activated the consortium's ancient weapons simultaneously. Beams of pure quantum energy linked vessel to vessel, species to species, forming a vast web of light. At its heart, the human ships pulsed with inherited power, their crews instinctively knowing what to do. The void consciousness recoiled as the quantum web began to vibrate at exactly the right frequency. Reality itself sang with the combined effort of dozens of civilizations working as one. "It's working," Maya exclaimed. "The breach is beginning to collapse." But the entity wasn't finished. With a last, desperate effort, it reached out directly to the human ships, trying to connect with the ancient power it recognized in their quantum signature. Helena felt it, a vast, alien consciousness pressing against her mind, offering power, offering to help humanity remember everything they had lost. For a moment, she saw it all: the advanced civilization they had once been, the wonders they had created, the glory they could reclaim. "No," she declared both to the entity and to herself. "We'll remember in our own time, build our own future, together." She sent the command, and every human ship in the fleet poured their energy into the quantum web. The resonance reached its peak, and with a reality-bending shriek, the void consciousness was torn from our universe. The quantum breach collapsed behind it, sealing the dimensional rift. In the aftermath, as damage reports streamed in and medical ships began their work, Helena opened a channel to the entire fleet. "To all ships, all species, thank you. Today we prove that we're stronger together than we ever were apart." The Shadow Consortium tried to prepare us for this moment through conflict and manipulation. But in the end, we succeeded because we chose to trust each other. She paused, looking out at the vast fleet that had fought alongside humanity. "We've learned that humanity's past holds many mysteries, powers we once wielded and lost. But we don't need to rush to reclaim them. We have time now. Time to grow, to learn, to build something new. Not just humans, but all of us." The response came from ships across the fleet. Cheers and celebrations in 100 different languages. Species that had been enemies days before now exchanged congratulations and offers of aid. In her private quarters later, Maya found one final message in the station Omega data. It was addressed to whoever managed to defeat the void consciousness, written by the consortium ages ago. "If you're reading this, you've succeeded where we could not. We used harsh methods, turned you against each other, forced you to grow stronger through adversity. For that, we know you may never forgive us. But you've proven yourselves to be what we hoped. Civilizations capable of moving past conflict to face a greater threat. The galaxy is yours now. Build something better than we did." As humanity and its new allies began the work of creating a truly unified galaxy, the Shadow Consortium's ancient stations grew quiet. Their work was finally done. The younger races had not just survived their test, they had exceeded all expectations. And somewhere in the vast database of Station Omega, records waited to be discovered, records of humanity's true history, of the civilization they had once been, and might one day become again. But those were mysteries for another time. For now, there was peace to be built, trust to be earned, and a future to be forged together.